Hi, my name is Dr. Jane Goldberg. Welcome to my show, Musings from 20th Street. I'm a psychoanalyst and I own La Casa de Spa. Both of those events happen on 20th Street, coincidentally. Uh, this is my fourth reality TV group therapy segment today. And I wanted to introduce it by talking a little about the theme of narcissism. I was watching one of those shows last night on TV. I think it was Criminal Minds. And one of the characters said that somebody he was diagnosing as a psychopathic narcissist or a split personality narcissist. It was something that was kind of didn't make any real technical sense. But narcissism is a word that has a lot of play in today's world, and I think that there's a very serious misunderstanding about the meaning of narcissism, which I wanted to correct today. About 20 years ago, there was a book called The Culture of Narcissism by Christopher Lasch. So we're just kind of immersed in narcissism, so I think it's important to understand the real psychodynamic nature of what narcissism is. So I know most people, lay people, people that are not analytically trained and trained in the field of psychology, think of narcissism as being excessive self-love. And that definition arises from the myth of Narcissus. And of course, most people probably know enough about mythology to know that Narcissus found a pond of water. He was wandering around in the woods one day and he came across this pond of water. And he looked down and he saw this beautiful boy staring back up at him. And he just became transfixed on the image of this boy. And so he just stood there and looked and looked and looked. And thus we interpret that as meaning that he fell in love with himself. But if you look a little deeper into the myth, what you find is that he stopped hearing the birds chirping, and he stopped feeling texture of the leaves and the grass and the water. And he stopped looking around and taking the pleasure of the woods, the visual pleasure of the woods that he was in. In other words, he cut off all commerce between himself and the outside world. And his fate, ultimately, was that he stopped eating and he starved to death. So how can we call narcissism a disease of self-love when the end is death, self-death, suicide? So in fact, my mentor, Hyman Spotnitz, felt that narcissism is not at all a disease of self-hatred, but of self-love, but a disease of self-hatred. That it's aggression turned back against the self, and that when one becomes so self-involved that we can't actually process what's happening around us, we suffer. We suffer very deeply. And so I think one of the functions of group therapy and why I'm so in love with this as a medium of healing is because when you're confronted with people that are there for the express purpose of kind of impinging on your personal space, talking to you and holding a mirror up to yourself, but doing it, they're holding the mirror. You know they're holding the mirror. And so it's not just looking at yourself, but it's somebody else looking at you and you looking at somebody else. And so I think that what happens in group is pretty amazing because we're all reflections of ourselves and each other. And I think it helps us to be involved in the world around us, as well as to be conscious of our own internal world. So one of the goals that I have for group therapy that I talk about with my patients is that I want, in the end, this is what you're going to have accomplished. I want you to know your own internal processes, and I want you to be able to read the internal processes of everyone that's here with you. Because once you've acquired that skill, you go out in the world and you can accomplish anything. So with that being said, I would like now again to introduce my group. We have today 7 people who have generously and valiantly agreed to work with each other in this setting, this live TV setting. So let's go, gang. Who wants to start? Barbara wants to start.
Yes. What should I say? I came here with expectations of support, of, and I felt nothing but hostility and attacked. And I felt more insecure when I left here last week, in tears, thinking, what the hell am I getting myself into? Because I have friends who know all about my issues. They accept me for the fact, for warts and all, and love me anyway. And I'm a Christian, and I'm very proud to say that.
So let me correct an impression that you have, which is that you said you came here for support. So a psychoanalytic group actually is not a support group. A support group, yes, the leader or the therapist tries to foster positive feelings for each other. But we talked in one of the prior groups about Eros and Thanatos, love and aggression. And so I think to be a whole person, there has to be both. And so, yes, there is going to be, I hope there's going to be about half love and half aggression, and that's going to balance out the tables. And I hope that when we experience aggression towards each other, that one of the things we're going to work on doing is learning how to communicate that in a constructive fashion to whoever it is that it's being felt towards.
Well, Barbara, I had a lot of empathy for you last week because you cried and you wanted to commit suicide, and you told us your story, and I had never, ever met anyone like you in my entire life. I've never been to a therapist, so I went home and I thought about a lot of people in this group, and I thought about you. But one of the things that I noticed that I have to verbalize is that you don't seem grateful for anything. It seems like you're not grateful to be here. You're not grateful for the money that you've gotten from your gigs on Craigslist, because I heard you talk about them last week. And it seems to me that I'm trying to get a grasp on you while you're switching everything around. Everything is negative. The Japanese video you did, you made $600. Oh, that was so disgusting. That was the first thing you said out of your mouth. You didn't want a man. Now you're talking about you've had a man. I mean, so I don't really understand you. It's almost like you're not grateful for anything, and you're pulling all the negativity towards you. You're a colorful personality, because I did notice your choice of clothing last week, and again your choice of clothing this week, the colors that you wear.
Now I'm going to intervene before you have a chance to respond, because you probably are feeling attacked now, and I know that you said in one of the prior groups that you only attack when you're attacked. So I would like to circumvent that from happening.
It's a defense mechanism.
Yes,
You know?
and we're interested in defense mechanisms here. So I would like you, instead of attacking Lana back for what she said, I'd like you to just try to go inside yourself and see what you're feeling and talk about what you're feeling.
Well,
You look like you're feeling hurt.
Well, I am very sensitive. I am extremely vulnerable. That goes back to my childhood of feeling totally unloved and totally abandoned. And I take things very personally. I want people to like me too.
I want to
mean?
I want to ask all of you here a question about Barbara. Does she give the appearance of being sensitive and vulnerable?
No, not
She
at
just
all.
opens herself up to it. That's the issue, I think.
What do you mean?
Well, you never stop talking, for one thing, and then everything you say, people of course want to come back at you because you are being really negative. So I think that if you want to be liked and you're real sensitive, you seem to be opening yourself up to a lot of attack. To me,
Yeah.
I think that's where you get
And
attacked.
being sensitive, I think if we define the word sensitive as far as I understand it, please correct me if I'm wrong. Sensitivity is an interaction with the outside world. You can't have sensitivity and not have an outside world. So I don't think you're being very sensitive to the needs of others around you, or you won't
I
even
agree
let
with
me finish one sentence. Just I said when you were sitting in the chair, I said, Barbara, let me just explain to you my experience with healthcare system in Canada, and you wouldn't even give me 30 seconds just to explain to you, and then if you disagree, that's fine. And then you're annoying people by singing, you're breaking out in songs, you're up and down, it's like totally manic depressive. I don't know whether you should take like a tranquilizer.
Well,
or
excuse
something.
me, you're not a therapist.
Okay, you know
I
what,
didn't say I was.
Barbara?
Look at your
Barbara,
own issues.
hello. Barbara, can you just tell us what you're feeling?
I'm feeling like I'm in a loony bin, okay? I feel that there are people here. She was sexually molested. I have never attacked her once. I haven't attacked anybody in this room once. And please correct me if I'm wrong. Until I was attacked, it's like a gangbang. I feel like I'm being gang raped by all you people.
You haven't got a speck of love in your heart.
Oh,
know that?
you don't know me, ma'am.
I would be able to
You
feel
don't
it.
know me.
All
You don't know me. I'm a complicated person, just like everybody.
I
in
think
this
you're
room.
an actress, and I think you're a damn good actress.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
I'm
right.
not acting
you
here.
are. I
I'm
think
not
you're
acting.
acting. I do.
Oh, no,
so.
thank you.
Because
And
I
I should
haven't
get
met
it.
anybody
And I
like
should
you
get in
before.
it. Well,
You know
no one
what?
has ever met
That's
anybody.
exactly
like
what
you.
crossed my
Yeah,
mind. I was
she
thinking
cried
about
last
it.
week. She was going to commit suicide.
Yeah,
Then she
and
switched the
and
story
now-
around.
You ought to be in a therapy then. Why don't you
And-
try to understand why people go
I'm
to
trying
therapy?
to understand you.
No,
I'm a
you don't. You're
humanitarian.
attacking me.
I love
You're
people.
attacking
Can I
me.
tell you? If I lived
I
next
can
door to
see
you,
the
I
love.
might try to help you.
Lana,
But you are
You're
really
not helping me
annoying.
now
Lana,
by attacking
and you
me.
know what's
are you?
happening? Do you see what's happening to the group dynamics? Everything now is about Barbara.
Yeah.
Sure
But
it
maybe
is.
she has an issue,
Absolutely.
or Andreas has an issue, or this new gentleman we don't know have his issue. Do you see how she's manipulating the group to gather all
And you're
the
not
attention
manipulating
to
the
her?
group. You attacked her because she said her
So
name
I think we should
wrong.
talk about let other people.
You're perfect,
discuss
aren't
some
you, Kay?
problems that they
Kay's
might
perfect.
have.
I agree.
Kay is Jesus Christ. We got
And
Jesus
you know
on
what?
this
I want to
website.
tell you thank you last week. I left here on Friday and I had a date.
Oh,
And it wasn't a person who
That's
I
okay.
really liked
That's
as a
okay.
date, but he was a nice person. And I felt so many beautiful compliments. And I felt being around you, you made me feel really special last week.
well, I'm so glad to hear. I'm so glad to hear that. It doesn't have to be the perfect
No,
date, right?
I
But
felt great.
Just share something with another person. You don't have to be your forever, but it's get a nice dinner.
I felt great.
so
I
glad.
felt sexy. I felt
Oh,
everything.
wow. I feel wonderful for you. And I think you deserve every bit of it.
I have something else to say. It's back to Barbara, sorry. I'm the mother of 5 kids, and I have this real strong maternal instinct. And if somebody's hurting, I care. I can't help it. And what I would say to one of my kids is that, number one, I do think you're negative. You say a lot of negative things, and you say a lot of blanket statements like, everybody here is full of animosity. That's not true. There are a lot of negative things coming out of you, and I would challenge you to say 3 happy, positive thoughts before you allow yourself to say.
Well, I think you're a very nice person. I didn't feel attacked by you here. You're one of
Okay.
the few people here that actually is trying to understand where I'm
Thank
coming
you.
from.
Now 2 more, and then you can say something bad or mean or negative. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's what I would say to my kids. Like, you can say mean stuff or negative stuff, but like say a couple of nice things in between. And I'm not fishing for compliments for myself. I just mean in general, like in your life. That might be good.
Well, you know, a lot of it's my disease, all right? We talk about illnesses. Borderline personality disorder, and I'm not making excuses for it, like people who have I haven't been sexually abused, so I can't relate to that.
When
Last week you said you were.
I never said I was sexually abused.
when a
I'm
patient comes in,
physically abused is
Barbara,
different.
Barbara, when I start talking, you need to be quiet. When a patient comes in to analysis, they'll say, "Oh, I hate my father. I can't believe my father's so awful, but I love my mother." And by the end of the analysis, they'll say, "Oh, my father's so great, but you know, my mother really is a bitch." So the point is that there's always a play between the conscious and the unconscious. And so what remains unconscious in the course of the analysis eventually comes out to consciousness. And so you begin to have a wider range of feelings toward the people that raised you, toward the people in your life. And sometimes they flip-flop in that way. So I think if Barbara is going to get cured in this 16 weeks that we're staying together, then all of the people that have the most amount of aggression toward her are going to come to have a different set of feelings toward her.
No, but I'm not aggressive. I have no aggression towards her. Absolutely none whatsoever. I'm just saying what I feel. I feel that you have to be verbal. I don't have
But it's
any
aggression.
I don't think this
It's
group should
aggression.
be all about Barbara's cure
No.
anyways. Everybody here has some other issues. Why should it just be
Sure.
about Barbara's? I don't think
Well, we know, I've figured out what some people have to do for the 16-week cure, we'll call
Okay,
it. We
okay.
know what Regan has to do. I haven't figured out everybody yet.
Okay.
We know
So
that
you'll
Regan
tell
has
us,
to
right?
stop having psychosomatic headaches, And the way she's going to stop having psychosomatic headaches is by having a voice.
Something to say, Regan? You have the floor.
I just am confused. I'm a confused person, I think. I'm confused with everyone in this room. That's number one. Number two, I don't get, like, I just don't get it. Because we just met each other, right? Correct me if I'm wrong, but a week ago. And I've never met someone and, like, just started fighting. Like, I can't explain it.
Yeah, it's not real natural.
Yeah, it's so unnatural to me. And I would never, if I just met someone, I would want to, like, be the nicest I could to them. So I don't see how I'm going to be helped in this situation, because I don't see how presenting a voice in a negative light's even going to bring anything to the table, because.
It won't always be attacked.
And-
No, but this isn't
I do that-
negative. I
is
don't
not
find this
negative.
process as I don't feel negativity here at all. In fact, I feel very safe. And even if something is said to me that I don't like, I still don't feel that this process.
Not the
Is
process,
the
but there are
process
elements
is
of
not-
negativity. I mean,
Sure,
no doubt
there,
about
but
it.
there's elements of negativity when you get up in the
Sure.
morning and go to bed at night. You've
Sure,
hit how many
sure.
negative people during your day, how
Sure,
many
sure, sure,
positive
sure.
people.
But it's
So-
hypocrisy when you're accusing somebody of being negative, when you're being negative to that person and not being
Well,
constructive.
I think maybe we
There's
should work on
constructive
our
criticism.
definition of negative.
I
Yeah.
just feel like it is negative. I'm so sorry to say, but it is very negative in here. I would guarantee if any of the viewers that are watching
They're
this
going to think it's
television show, it's negative. It's a negative environment. I have not heard one positive thing, and maybe this is a blanket statement, but if I did hear, I'm sure there was a couple, but the negative statements outweigh the positive, and it's pissing me off that all of you guys are saying that it's not negative, that it's not negative, because honestly,
denial.
like,
I don't
I
think it is.
leave here and I like want to go to a spa myself and just like heal myself with like a massage, because my body's all tense from this negativity.
Well, when I left here, I was feeling so good for the entire weekend. I was going through the thing you told me about my confidence. I really thought about that. And I really appreciate you saying that. I don't really have any answers yet. I know like why that kind of exists. But I'm sorry, Regan. I do respect your feelings. I am sorry that you feel that the process is not nurturing you. And if I can do anything to help that, if I can be more positive to help you do that, just let me know what it is, and I will try to do that.
I want to correct myself really quickly, because I did leave here wanting to come back the next week too, because I also felt like I met a lot of cool people. And so when I met all you guys, I found something so nice about each of one of you people. I'm like so caring and loving, so fabulous, and like totally with it, and wants to help people, so spunky. Like I can name like everything, also so kind and wants to help so many people. I don't really know much about Andres, because I barely heard you talk, so I really didn't get much from you. I'm sorry. But-
Just met you.
And I just met you, so I don't know you. And obviously there goes the saying without the doctor, who we all love, so.
So that's
But
good. Okay, so
I'm
that
just
kind of
let-
evens it out a little
Yeah,
bit,
it
right?
does, but I still felt
Okay.
the tension with like the negative
Well,
stuff.
that's
But I
unconscious.
did leave here
Yeah.
wanting to come back too.
Well, the
at the same time.
unconscious will do that. The unconscious will start to bring up stuff that makes you very uncomfortable and anxious and afraid, and that's important. I think that
Yeah.
you're very brave to allow yourself to explore that part of it.
There's a difference between constructive criticism, though, and destructive criticism. When somebody leaves feeling worse than when they came in. I felt totally worse when I left. It was like I felt like somebody just sprayed grease all over me.
Well, normally I would say that if, like with Regan last session, that if you walk out with a headache, it means you didn't talk enough. I can't say that about you, but I can say something about the way you talk. Because when you talk therapeutically, you digest your feelings, and your words become like food, so that they expand inside of you, and they're meaningful and they're felt, and there's an integration between what you're saying and what you're thinking and what you're feeling. And when that happens, you don't walk out of here feeling worse, you walk out feeling better, because you walk out feeling integrated. So that process did not happen for you last week. And that's what you need to work on. I think you obviously talk really easily, and you express feeling easily. But the question is, do you talk about what you're feeling in a feelingful way? And I think you don't.
My problem with Barbara, and it's not a huge problem because I'm trying to understand her, because I genuinely like people, I felt that every word out of her mouth last week, she wasn't grateful for one small, minute thing in her life. I'm grateful for everything. She doesn't know my financial situation, okay, and I'm not going to go into it. I didn't suffer the kind of abuse you've gone through or the trauma that you've gone through, but I've lost a lot of money. I am unemployed. I'm overqualified. I do not have a job. Today you said raise your hand if you don't have a job, okay? But last week when you talked about all the gigs that you get and all this wonderful jobs that you're getting that you get paid $600 for, I was thinking to myself, I have put out 1,500 resumes. I do a lot of odd jobs. I paint and I do some catering. I don't have steady work, okay? Maybe I don't look.
But you have to
I
understand.
do not look that way, but I do not have steady work.
It's not steady.
But I'm grateful for everything. You didn't say one positive thing about that last week. That's what I'm trying to ask you. Do you not get up and say, hey, I'm a part of this show? No, it's not a paying gig. It's not all about money. It might be at the end what you get out of it. I'm grateful to just be here. And that's where I had the problem with you, that you never once said one grateful word.
Well, I'll admit that I can be a negative. I'll be the first to say it.
Barbara, what's my rule?
Yeah, I know.
So, Lana, you actually want Barbara to feel something that you don't hear that she feels.
So she can
Whether
come-
she feels it or not, we don't know. But what you're saying is that you don't hear her expressing that she feels it.
Yes, so something positive can come back to her. You can't just live like that. You need to try to heal yourself. I told you last week you were beautiful. We talked about that. I said you were colorful, and I loved all the turquoise. You're wearing all green today. I look at everything. I look at people's skin, their hairs, their eyes, everything. I talk to people everywhere I go.
Okay, I want to tell a story about my life. So, I had this boyfriend many moons ago that broke my heart. And so I went into my analyst, and there was something that happened that he was just so furious at me about. And he was out of town, and he wrote me this letter. And the letter just absolutely devastated me. He was so angry, and he just, was expressing how angry he was at me. So read the letter to my analyst, and my analyst said, boy, you really got him good. And I said, what do you mean? He said, oh my God, look how attached he is to you. I said, he's breaking up with me. He said, he's not breaking up with you. And he did ultimately. But we went on for another 3 years. He didn't break up with me then. So that was a lesson to me. I see that Lana is very involved with Barbara. Now, Barbara may not like the involvement, the particular nature of the involvement, but Lana is very engaged with Barbara. Where are you at?
Where am I at? Well, there's very little that anyone says in this particular group that I don't have a response to.
I'm sure.
So let's hear it.
But the action is fast and furious, and I'm taking it in, and so I have a lot of thoughts. And so to organize them and then articulate them in a way that feels comfortable for me takes a little bit of time. And I enjoyed hearing Regan speak and explain and summarize and how you felt, and I was like, wow, that's good. She's saying, just right. She's just saying it just right. So that's one thought. And then another thought that I had, although I don't speak too much in the group or the first 3 sessions, this weekend I found myself at work just being better than ever with other people. And speaking and connecting with and hearing them, listening to them, and engaging them and having just really good communication. Although it didn't happen, I wasn't speaking here, but whatever I took out of this was good. I really enjoyed that. That was, and I noticed it. So that's something.
That's good to hear. It makes me feel good.
Yeah,
I might have contributed to him having a good weekend.
yeah, yeah. And then another thought that I had was, I wonder about the impact of cameras and how that affects us. And I wondered about what you can do in half an hour, the time period of half an hour. And then I wondered, and then today the thought that I had, an overwhelming thought was, how can we be helpful to you, Barbara, and then also share the time, share the space, so that everyone has, feels comfortable.
Well, I can certainly step in and get Barbara to not monopolize the speech. Because if I lose the power to do that, then if I can't have control over the group, then I don't have a group. Yeah, so I believe I have that power. But what I'd really like to see created is that you people take the power and that Barbara cooperates with you. And so that when you feel that Barbara has talked enough, that you tell her that, and you tell her that in a way that she can process it and cooperate with other people's wishes. What about that as a goal?
I mean, I feel like right now I don't want to say anything, and I'm sure people would be very happy if they didn't hear me talk for the next 14 weeks.
No, that's not true.
That's not
That's
true.
not
That's not true.
Well,
I would. At this point, I'm just feeling very
That is
irritated.
not
That's
true.
not
Well, I'm
Although it's
hearing
not
it
true,
from her.
I feel that way now. Yeah, absolutely. I would be happy.
I don't.
Okay,
It
so
wasn't-
it's true for one person.
well, she started.
I might
That's not
change
true.
my
There's a
mind
lot of
next week.
hostility.
I
I
might
don't
change
know.
my
There's a lot of
mind,
hostility from her. I felt it the minute she walked into the room. I could feel the vibes.
I don't really like the word hostility. She's having some aggression,
Oh, well,
and she's having
it's true, trying to help.
the thing about feelings is when feelings work, when you're what I'm calling integrated, the feelings come in and they go out and they
Yeah.
pass through you very quickly. And so this is where Kay is at this moment. You of all people, you were like a model of, when I saw the tapes, I have to say I missed it when we were doing it live. But, when I saw the tapes and you were over there and you were kind of writhing in pain and, sitting like this, and then like 2 seconds later you were laughing. So you have the ability to self-soothe a lot, which is one thing that I wanted to tell you.